Hello.
Hello, Joe. What do you know?
I don't know. I know more than you do, though.
Well, let's take my case. What did you know that I don't know?
Well, so I mean, again, this is the basic idea from over 10 years ago, is that, and except it's more true now than it was then. In fact, the world wasn't ready for it then. We didn't have the technology. But, now we really do have the technology as a society to start a open source, not revolution, just a reboot of civilization. So that's the gist. I mean, that's a reboot of civilization. There's a lot of institutions in our civilization that still function, right? And there's a lot of them that still function, but not as good as they used to. And there's some institutions that are, they're, barely, they're not functional at all. For instance, our political parties and process and stuff like that. But right now, the technology exists that all decision making could be done as a sort of a collaborative. You don't need the friction of a representative democracy anymore. It's not necessary. We are all talking to right now we are all capable of talking to each other. But as I've demonstrated over the last couple of days, I think, and everybody else in the world is demonstrating in all sorts of different contexts, is that mostly we're talking at each other and, only listening selectively to the things that we already agree with. And I know I'm not saying, so all the stuff I'm saying, everything I'm saying is not new. I don't have anything new except to synthesize everything that's already out there. That's kind of the gist of it. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of Khan Academy for education. I think that actually, yeah, and TED Talks for adult. I mean, there's all sorts, and there's these online colleges and everything, and we don't need to throw away the institutions of universities, but we also don't need to have them structured in the same way. We could totally eliminate grades. We could have a guaranteed income for everybody, so that, did you know, maybe, here's something I learned in a TED Talk, that poverty takes like 15 to 17 IQ points away from you. That's significant. That's very significant. That's more than pot takes from you. And pot is a temporary situation usually. Poverty is not necessarily so. I felt like when I was homeless, I was living a feral life, right? If we gave everybody in the world a guaranteed income, which if as a civilization we decided that was something we wanted to do, it's something we could totally do. And instead of having this sort of artificial system of grades and degrees and diplomas, people pursue education for the sake of learning and for the sake of creation and for the sake of economic development. There's not these papers that they give us, these certificates, these licenses, these documents. I don't think they're necessary any longer either, because we have our reputations now that are basically all online. That we can't really manipulate like we could manipulate. I could 20, 50 years ago I could, now I could forge degrees and grades and all that sort of stuff, but that doesn't make me able to actually do anything, right? But we have our reputations, and so more and more we've got this gig economy, and it's not just Uber drivers and Airbnb. It's people who are working online doing creative things and just many tasks. So I kind of have a good idea how to one of the things that I've noticed about my life is it seems like it's kind of been bringing me to this point. That's where all this sort of weird cosmic things. I don't believe everything I put down on Facebook, but there is something going on because it just seems like I've I've kind of had this path that's really led me to this place, right? I've had this in particular this last couple of years where because I fell in love with Shirley and got married to her and discovered a lot of things that I learned from her about I guess entrepreneurship and taking risks and just not being an employee of somebody else. That allowed me the opportunity to kind of grow, and since our business sort of took off, and it gave me more and more time to read more and more and develop these other websites, and I was trying to kind of build a business on not just this tour thing, but I have another website that's dealing more with the sort of stuff I'm talking about like right now as far as educational opportunities and developing your skills for the new millennium. So that's I don't know if you have ever looked at what skills pay bills, but that's one of the websites I have that. So anyway, over the past year, I've been kind of really getting interested in that, and that, all those things, all those online sorts of skills I've developed, and I know how to do this online marketing, and I can kind of develop some viral buzz so that this conversation that you and I are having is happening, kind of on Facebook and Twitter and maybe, soon after that, maybe in the news. And, that is the gist. I think I summed it up in a nutshell, but there's probably some questions you might have.
Yeah. How do you monetize how do you make anything off of it? You got to eat and you got to.
Who, me? Are you talking about me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
I'm already making money. I don't need to make money off this idea. I'm already making money.
Okay, so it's going well for you then.
Yeah, it's been going well. I've been telling you that over the years. But this one, under this new civilization, I think the concept of money is gonna, sort of change and fall away. But that doesn't mean there's not exchanges of value, right? And that's the awesome thing. That's why I'm really encouraging you to look at blockchain, because, for instance, right now they already have Potcoin for, because you have this marijuana industry that is not legal federally, but they are legal. They have these, I don't know if you're aware, they have these issues. They, can't use banks and stuff like that. Well, Potcoin is a digital currency that they can exchange and then, basically wash the marijuana off the money, I guess, and, exchange the Potcoin for Bitcoin or dollars or anything like that. So, and there's sex coin and there's all sorts of currency. So basically currency is not going to be, I think whether my idea works or not, and if you research this, the currency is not going to be the same as it is. The other currencies include, I don't even know all the details. This is more technical, but I know they're capable of doing, self-executing contracts, and so as soon as something happens, the person gets the money. There's no middleman. There's no need for banks. In fact, there's no need for so many agents. A lot of industries could disappear. In fact, all the stuff that's just basically all the industries that are just there to make money off the backs of the little guy. Those are not necessary. The things that will continue to exist, I think, are, the things like plumbers and artists and not lawyers for the most part. I guess there might be some need for legal minds, but, it's going to be more practical and artistic and, this is, and social, also, you're probably aware of the, just the exponential improvement in artificial intelligence over the last couple of years, robotics, 3D printing, all these technologies are very, very rapidly, more rapidly than we've ever seen before in our life, changing the way, the economy, well, making it possible for us to not have to toil. The means of production are, not gonna. I mean, there's gonna be a need for human involvement, but the need for factory workers and laborers and all that sort of stuff is dwindling, and even more and more skilled jobs are being replaced by artificial intelligence and robots. So all the more reason to kind of go towards a what do you call minimum income, the big guaranteed basic income. So
I think the problem, one of the big problems I see is a lot of vested interests. I mean, it's always been a problem for any kind of innovation.
Well, you're right. That's a great point, and I totally. And so, a big part of my, I guess, strategy is to build a viral campaign that grows very, very fast, so that these vested interests are off balance, because they're actually preparing to build something, something along these lines, but except without our input, so that ours meaning the 99% of us, right? Banks are building on this blockchain technology, right, and all these other technologies for that matter. So, I mean, if we leave it to them, we only have the potential for a more and more dystopian society, if you ask me. So that's why I want to build something viral, get a lot of excitement about the idea that, and one of the biggest, best ideas for this is that your corporations can certainly, issue their own digital currency or whatever like that, but they won't be allowed to join this movement because they're not humans, right? So this movement is for human souls only, and and so humans are the only ones who can benefit from this civilization, and that's going to be a big point that I want to make.
Well,
so I mean, basically, I'm talking kind of like enlightenment / reformation, as an analogy, but you got to get the conversation started, and people, like I say, people are talking at each other, not to each other. So I'm trying to get some buzz on one particular one of my Twitter feeds. I know I'm not into social media at all, but so every time I tell somebody, "Oh, please check this out," they think I'm one of these guys but I'm really trying to boost this one particular, I have that Sweaty Guy blog, and there's a Twitter that's associated with that. So that's the one I'm trying to boost right now, and I'm kind of working on multiple angles. I'm working with a guy here in Hawaii who is a pretty heavy internet guy. He was kind of on board when the internet was invented, and still owns some of the earliest, he was aware, like when the first domain names were being issued, he got a bunch of them, right? They were free at that time, right? So he still owns China.com and Hawaiian.com, and he had a whole bunch of other ones that he collected all the ones he could think of, right? Including brand names and whatnot. So he made himself a fortune just by selling, some of those and keeping some to develop for himself. So I'm kind of working with him on this right now too, and we got a plan. I'm having him help me build I'm capable of building a website myself, but I don't have the time to do it. And so his team actually is going to help with that. And we just, really are hoping to build a a movement, and that's kind of the plan.
Well, it's kind of exciting to be kind of in the forefront of that, or not the forefront, but one of the pioneers, I guess, in the whole field.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta. I mean, the early adopters or the early people are sometimes like right now Bitcoin. Most people's eyes roll back if you mention it, right? But then every now and then somebody gets excited because there's some people who already kind of are seeing the potential, and it's kind of that whole tipping point thing, little by little you gotta get enough people interested, and then at a certain point, then it just kind of becomes inevitable.
So the stuff that would be worthwhile for me to read about that you've done would be on the Sweaty Guy blog?
So Sweaty Guy blog for just there's nothing new on that, just to basically, so that's more what I'd like other people to start reading just to kind of get my background a little bit, or What Skills Pay Bills is another website that I have that's talking more about the technology side of things. And I have, in fact, the first few posts on that are kind of really about sort of, I don't know if you've read what's his name, Friedman, the guy, he did The World is Flat, and now he's got a new book out.
Tom Friedman,
yeah. So his new book is really good. I got a lot of the ideas from him. He's I mean, his
St. Louis Park, Minnesota.
What's that?
From St. Louis Park, Minnesota.
Oh, is he? I had no idea. Yeah, well, he's kind of provided the basis, I guess. Well, one of the jumping off points, I guess I have, as far as the increasing speed at which technology is, just changing the world right faster and faster, and this whole thing where it seems like everybody's talking at each other, I think has something to do with that, where it's just there's too much rapid change, too fast for people to keep up with, and different people are paying attention to too many. It is like Babylon, right? The Tower of Babel. Everybody's talking, but no need for a flood this time, I don't think.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said?
There will be no need for Noah's Ark or any floods or anything like that.
You're fading out somehow, someway.
Oh, well, maybe I'm in a bad place. I mean,
now it's better.
Okay, yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, it's like Babylon, but there will be no need for an ark or any floods or anything like that.
That's always good. Although it's raining like hell here, so maybe we do.
It looks like Trump's days are numbered.
Oh, God. He is something. He is beyond everything else here. And that's something.
Well, I mean, he's a from my point of view, he's a symptom of everything that's kind of been we've noticed it for many years, the whole the change in the discourse and the divisiveness and all these different media outlets that have their totally different points of view, but the degree to which we're separated it just keeps increasing because there's so many different.
I couldn't agree more, and there's no common source that we all agree on for.
Exactly. I think that's something that will be necessary in the future, is some sort of agreed upon common source. But the other thing I'm noticing lately is, and just mostly just really recently, since a little bit with Shay, but not so much. But as I'm working more and more with millennials these days and realizing all these all these things that people are complaining about them. There is some truth to that. Their need for coddling, I guess, and inability to. I get a lot of when I'm talking to people, I get a lot of yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, and then no follow through. A lot of people telling me, they're very agreeable, but not, the results only come if they're actually interested in following through. But they won't let you know that they're really not interested until you figure it out for yourself, it seems. So.
Well, what is it you're asking them to do? Or
just basic things. I mean, like really basic, either clerical or errands, or just I'm and they seem like really bright, smart people. It's sometimes it's a skill they don't have, and they just are not interested in learning. So they just, which is weird, I've noticed that with with navigating too, and anything that if you can use your phone as a crutch, they do it, right, as opposed to just literally yesterday I was trying to talk somebody 2 blocks from where they are to me, and they didn't, they said, well, can't you just give me the address so I can put it in your phone? And I just look in front of you. There's a street sign that says Ala Moana Boulevard, turn right and go 1 block. And it was something that it sounded really challenging to them, which is really mind-boggling because they're not stupid people otherwise. But so.
well, okay. I'm happy you're happy. And, sounds like what you say is going well for you. So that's good.
It is, and I invited Matt over to sort of help out if he wants. Shirley's always it looks like we might be able to build a house. Well, right now she's mad at me this morning, but it's like every other day. But she's always wanted to. We've always talked about getting a piece of land and building a house, and so that might be something that's possible. And I was thinking Matt would be somebody, maybe him and his family could come out for a little while, or I don't know. But anyway, it was something we were just throwing out there. So that's one thing. Or Andy, Andy's pretty handy too. So although he's got a job and everything too. But,
yeah,
so,
he's pretty locked down.
He's locked down there. But
baby got one.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, even if he had some vacation time to come hang out and help out with doing some building projects with Matt, that would be cool too. Get that done. But so those are for down the road though.
Well, I'll. Would you send me again your that blog you said that would get the most background on information on how to get to it?
Okay, I will. Do you want me to send it in a text or in an email? Email might be easier. What's that?
Easier for me. Email would be better.
Yeah, okay. All right, if you could send me a text right after this call, just to remind me to send you that email, because I'm,
oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm away from my computer, and I'll probably space it out, so.
Okay, sure. Okay, well, love you. Hope you're, I can't let you go without saying that I am concerned about alcohol and drug abuse, but
yeah.
All my concern, I registered it, so I guess that's all I need to say.
Perfect. Thank you. That's the right words. Yeah. Your complaint has been registered.
Well, I'm going to tell you that you're a career, you got a problem with this. But anyway, that's the one on this, and keep me posted.
Okay, will do.
Okay, love you.
Talk to you later. Bye.